Next question is on security, terrorism, and our foreign troops. The United States has troops in countries all around the world. We are a prime target for those who wish to harm us at home as well. What foreign and domestic policy changes would you advocate in Congress to keep us safe while respecting everyone's privacy as well?
The first thing I would say that we need to do is to balance. We don't need extremism in Washington. We've seen what extremism has done to us in the last year and a half. So first I would say we need to balance our need for security with our need for freedom. Freedom and prosperity is possible while maintaining safety. That's number one. Number two, we go after the terrorists where they live. We don't accept what they're doing to us on the 9/11 type of activities. This is wrong. We need to be strong. We need our military abroad in certain cases, not as world policemen, but out there as a world leader. Whether it's forward basing in an area in Southeast Asia where we're watching what Muslim terrorists are doing or elsewhere in the world, it is important. And not just from the point of view of terrorism, but from the point of view of humanitarian assistance. We were there in Indonesia with hospital ships ready to operate to help the people there. We are a world leader. We need to act like that. Now, when it comes to domestic terrorism or terrorism at home, we need to take strong measures. And that means providing our law enforcement with the tools that they need to do their job. It also means at the same time that citizens stand up and demand that we have our rights. So it's a balancing act that we need right now, I think.
Doug?
We have troops around the world to protect our vital interests and our national security. We don't just throw troops into countries for the fun of it. There are places that when the usefulness of our troops in that country is over, we pull them out. And there are places where suddenly we find that it's necessary for us to have troops, so we put them there. Each time we deploy troops, we have to analyze very carefully why they're there, what their mission is, and when their mission is going to be over. And when it's over, they come back. But they don't come back on a timeline. They come back when the mission is finished. At home, the biggest thing that we need to do right now is secure our borders. That is our biggest national security issue at home, in my opinion. We have a lot of people, a lot of good people, watching all the airports and the train stations. Well, that's great. When old ladies get searched and have to go through the metal detectors, fantastic, we're being kept safe. But what about the people that are sneaking in over the borders? That is as bad as having open airports with no security. It's even worse because we don't know those people are coming in.
Kari's using her rebuttal.
I'd just like to add something else. We also need international cooperation because the threats against the United States are threats against the Western world by a lot of radical jihadist groups. And they are not going to stop until they've destroyed our American way of life, our Western lifestyle. That's not something that's going to go away. It's their stated goal. Unlike when the Soviet Union was opposing us, they really wanted to turn us into a communist state, but they didn't want to destroy our way of life. They wanted our economy to feed theirs. This group of people that are out there opposing us today want to destroy everything that we value. And that means that we have to find use every means available within our law. We're a system of laws, not a rule of man, but within our laws to protect ourselves and to protect our allies. And that means standing up and standing strong.
A, pretty straightforward and simple. It's term limits. And we'll start with you, Doug. What are your views on term limits?
I'm all in favor of term limits. And if I went to Congress, I would certainly sponsor a constitutional amendment to allow for them. At the moment, I do not believe they're constitutional.
And this Mike doesn't like me. I have a different opinion. I think that it's up to the voters right now to send people home, that we need to be active, that we have to take our personal responsibility seriously in this country and stand up and say, we've had enough. When somebody is not representing us well, we send them home. Now, I was originally thinking about this a few years ago and thinking, wow, it would be really easy, just limit what happens. And then I thought twice about it. There's some unintended consequences. And you know what? We've seen a lot of those in Congress lately, haven't we? Don't read the bill, let's vote on it to find out what's in it. Well, I just thought about those unintended consequences. Who would have more power in Washington if we forced our representatives home after a certain time? The unelected, unchecked Hill staffer. That group of people that will be down there forever feeding on the system. And when they have people who don't know the system come into Washington, they will have even more power. So for one reason alone, that's enough to tell me that I don't want to see term limits right now. What if we had another Ronald Reagan come in? What if we had another Winston Churchill, some great leader that came in and we automatically have to kick them out of office when they're doing a good job? I don't think it's the smartest way to go. Do we need to step up and find ways to get the incumbents out? You bet we do, but I don't think it's term limits.
Ronald Reagan had a term limit. He was only allowed, under the Constitution, 2 terms. The problem with Congress is that they can stay there for life. They build up huge war chests that prohibit people from competing with them. This country was designed to have citizen legislators who go to Washington, do their job, and then come home and go back to work. That's what we need. And the system as it is allows people too much power in order to keep themselves in office. And I would sponsor a constitutional amendment to add term limits to Congress.